Tired of the complexities of modern dating? What if finding a wife was simpler, more direct, and part of an established tradition? Around the world, there are countries where securing a loving partner is more straightforward and rooted in long-standing customs. Join us as we explore 8 countries where you can confidently meet, negotiate, and marry a woman who's ready to start a future with you. Welcome to Watch the Globe, your go-to guide for uncovering the world's best-kept secrets. Let's start our journey in Central Asia, where a centuries-old tradition still sends shockwaves through modern society. In the mountainous country of Kyrgyzstan, the practice of bride kidnapping, known locally as ala kachu, continues to this day. It sounds like something out of a medieval romance or a distant fairy tale, but for many Kyrgyz women, it's a harsh and heartbreaking reality. In this tradition, young men, sometimes with the help of friends, abduct a woman they want to marry. Often, the abduction is sudden, leaving the woman no choice but to agree to marriage. In many cases, family pressure forces the woman to comply, making it nearly impossible for her to escape this fate. The price of marriage here isn't measured in dollars or cattle, but in societal expectations and family pressure. While Kyrgyzstan has officially banned this practice, it still thrives in rural areas deeply rooted in tradition. This controversial custom raises important questions about women's rights and cultural preservation. Should these ancient traditions be maintained, or is it time for them to fade into history? Let us know your opinion in the comments. From the rugged mountains of Central Asia, we move to the bustling metropolis of Shanghai, China. Here, the marriage market takes on a much different form. Every weekend, People's Park transforms into a gathering of anxious parents holding handwritten signs, listing their children's qualifications, age, height, income, education, almost like they're advertising products in a marketplace. This unique Shanghai marriage market is where love meets business. Parents are on a mission to find the perfect match for their unmarried children, who may not even be aware of the negotiations happening behind their backs. It's a strange blend of old-school matchmaking and modern values, where social status, education, and financial stability are critical selling points. In rural parts of China, however, the marriage market takes on a more literal meaning. Due to the country's one-child policy, China now faces a significant gender imbalance, with millions more men than women. In some rural regions, men are paying exorbitant bride prices to secure a wife, sometimes upwards of $10,000, depending on the family's social status and the bride's perceived value. Imagine that, a future spouse being bargained over like a prized possession. This dynamic leaves us questioning, is this still about love, or is marriage in China becoming just another transaction? Let us know in the comments what you think. As we leave China behind, let's head to India, where the tradition of dowries has deep roots in the marriage process. In India, it's not the groom who pays a price for marriage, it's the bride's family. Despite the Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961, dowries remain a significant part of Indian weddings, especially in rural areas. These payments can range from modest gifts to eye-watering sums of money, property, and even luxury items. The dowry system has a dark side. Although it's meant to be a gift to help the newlyweds start their life together, it often becomes a point of tension. Families go into debt to meet the dowry demands of the groom's family, and tragically, dowry-related violence is still a serious issue in India. Brides who fail to meet their in-laws' expectations can face abuse, or worse. There are, however, signs of change. In urban centers, younger generations are pushing back against the dowry system, favoring marriages built on equality and mutual respect rather than financial transactions. But the question remains, how long will it take for this deeply ingrained practice to disappear altogether? Do you think dowry practices are a necessary tradition or an outdated custom that needs to be eradicated? Share your thoughts in the comments. From the bustling streets of India, we now travel to the vast plains of South Sudan, where the currency of marriage isn't dollars, gold, or goods, but cattle. In many tribal communities, particularly the Dinka and Nuer people, a bride's worth is measured in cows. The number of cows a man offers to the bride's family can range anywhere from 20 to 200, depending on her family's status and the groom's wealth. In South Sudan, cows are more than just animals. They represent wealth, power, and social standing. Owning cattle allows a man to marry, support his family, and gain respect in his community. But the pressure to accumulate enough cattle to afford a bride can lead to violent cattle raids between tribes, making marriage a dangerous proposition for some. This traditional system has its merits, as it's seen as a way of honoring the bride's family. However, it also raises concerns about women being treated as commodities in exchange for livestock. Should these long-standing cultural practices be preserved, or is it time for South Sudan to find new ways to honor marriage without commodifying women? Before we dive into number 5, could I ask for a quick favor? If you're finding this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you'll stay updated with all our latest videos and won't risk missing out on our next hidden gem. It's free, and it helps us continue bringing you the best travel content out there. Next, we venture to the heart of Southeast Asia, to Thailand, a country known for its rich culture, beautiful landscapes, and vibrant nightlife. But behind the picturesque beaches and temples lies a hidden marriage tradition, the Sin Sod, Thailand's bride price system. The Sin Sod is a payment the groom makes to the bride's family to prove he is financially stable enough to support his future wife. It's a symbolic gesture that shows respect to the bride's family for raising her. The cost of the Sin Sod can vary greatly, from a few thousand baht, about $100, for a bride from a rural area to millions for brides from more affluent families. Interestingly, many Thai families return the Sin Sod to the newlyweds as a wedding gift, but in other cases, it's kept as compensation for raising the daughter. While it may seem like a charming cultural custom, the Sin Sod is also criticized for turning marriage into a financial transaction, where love becomes secondary to money. It leaves us wondering, in a world increasingly focused on gender equality, how do traditions like Sin Sod fit into modern society? Is it a beautiful way to honor the bride's family, or is it just another way to commodify relationships? Our journey now takes us to Romania, particularly the rural region of Maramuresh, where marriage is a blend of tradition and festivity. Romanian marriages are deeply rooted in centuries-old customs, and one of the most significant aspects is the dowry provided by the groom to the bride's family. In many cases, the dowry includes livestock, land, money, and other valuable goods that demonstrate the groom's ability to provide for his future wife. The wedding celebrations in Romania are grand affairs, often lasting several days and involving the entire village. The size of the celebration reflects the groom's wealth and commitment, with families sometimes saving for years to afford these lavish events. But as Romania modernizes and more people move to urban areas, these rural traditions are starting to fade. Younger generations are opting for smaller, simpler weddings that focus on the couple rather than family expectations. Still, in many parts of Romania, marriage is seen as a powerful social contract, where family ties are cemented through wealth and festivity. Next, we travel to the vast deserts of Somalia, where the marriage market is alive with an ancient and deeply symbolic tradition: camels. For Somali nomads, the bride price, called the yarad, is traditionally paid in camels, with some brides costing up to 100 camels, depending on their family's wealth and status. Camels are the ultimate symbol of wealth in Somalia, and they play a vital role in a family's survival in the harsh desert climate. For this reason, a high bride price demonstrates not only the groom's ability to provide, but also his respect for the bride's family. However, as Somalia becomes more urbanized and modernized, some families are beginning to request cash payments instead of livestock. This shift leaves us asking, Is it better to hold on to such culturally rich traditions, or should Somalia evolve along with the modern world? Would you prefer marriage traditions based on livestock, or does the idea seem too outdated for modern times? Let us know in the comments below. Our final destination is Nigeria, where the Igbo people maintain one of the most formalized marriage markets in Africa. Among the Igbo, the bride price is a crucial part of the marriage process. The groom must pay the bride's family a negotiated sum of money, which symbolizes the transfer of responsibility for the bride's welfare. The bride price can vary depending on the family's expectations, and in some cases it's not just about money. Gifts like yams, palm oil, and fabric may also be required, representing the groom's ability to provide for the bride and her family. While this practice is seen as a way to honor the bride's family, there's growing debate in Nigeria about whether the bride price places too much pressure on men and commodifies women. In some cases, the financial burden can lead to tension in the marriage, as the groom may feel that he has purchased his wife. As modernization spreads across Nigeria, many younger couples are choosing to either reduce the bride price or skip the tradition altogether, opting for marriages based on love and mutual respect rather than financial agreements. Around the world, marriage is far more than a union of hearts. It's often a complex financial and cultural negotiation between families, rooted in centuries of tradition. Whether it's the dowry system in India, bride kidnapping in Kyrgyzstan, or camels in Somalia, these practices reveal how diverse and sometimes controversial marriage customs can be. While some see these traditions as beautiful expressions of culture, others question whether they reduce marriage to a mere transaction. As globalization and modernization continue to influence these regions, it will be interesting to see how these ancient customs adapt or fade away. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Watch the Globe for more travel tips and hidden gems. Until next time, keep exploring and keep dreaming.